Alright guys, today we have a very tough video. I'm going to be letting you guys know who my favourite portrayal of Michael Myers is. In this video we aren't going to be going through every single one. I've instead picked the final 4 that I kind of came to, and they're who we're going to be speaking about today, and I'll kind of be going through them now in like no order and then giving you my final conclusion as to who I think played him the best. So yeah, in no particular order or anything, but the first one we're going to be talking about is the OG Nick Castle. You know, Nick Castle's performance of Michael Myers in the original Halloween is like, without question, it's one of the best. And what makes it so great is that Nick Castle's performance is what really set the foundations in Michael's kind of key characteristics and mannerisms. You know, the slow, emotionless walk, the head tilt, the sitting up with just your back. You know, Nick Castle was the first guy that ever brought all those traits to a screen so we can see them, and it was done so well, it absolutely terrified me. So he definitely has to be in that mix, in my opinion. But next up, we've got James Jude Courtney, the guy who has most recently played Michael in the trilogy that we've just gotten. And this guy did an incredible job. He really did bring the shape back to Halloween films. He took all of the qualities that Nick Castle introduced us to, and in my opinion, heightened them. He tightened them up a little bit. And you know, as I imagine speaking and working with Nick Castle, he did an insane job on this trilogy. Until this trilogy came out, I thought I was good with Michael Myers, but there are moments in some of these films that when they came out and I got back from the cinema, I was nervous in my flat. I felt like a little kid again. It was like I couldn't have the lights off. I was scared to shower. And I think regardless on how bad the film might be to some of the fans, Halloween Kills for me was probably the best James Jude Courtney performed. Obviously the film being so Michael Myers centered allowed that to take place, but when he was on the screen, he was not playing around. That performance was perfect. You know, it was very, very intense, and he's exactly what this trilogy needed, in my opinion. I think without him playing Michael, you know, who knows how different things would have been. So yeah, James Jude Courtney is definitely in the conversation with me. And moving on to the last two, I feel like these are quite controversial, if I'm honest. But my next one, I have listed Aaron Armstrong. I know his screen time was very brief, and in fairness, it is not a whole lot to judge him from. But the way he looked in Halloween Kills in those flashback scenes, with the white 78 mask and the original 1978 lighting that they had used, it gave me actual like chills in the cinema seeing him first appear on the screen. You know, I think I said it in a previous video at some point, but when we first see him, and then also when he's kind of stalking Lonnie and walking him down, it is literally like a phantom is walking across the screen. I don't know how to explain that in any other way, but it was terrifying. And as I've stated before as well in a previous video, I think Aaron Armstrong is arguably the strongest candidate that we have of playing Michael again, especially if we're going back to a time period when Michael is like a younger man. I think he will work perfectly for that. But then last but not least, possibly my most controversial opinion, but I have to put Tyler Mane down. You know, I'm not speaking about the films here. What we need to remember is we're speaking about the Michael Myers portrayal, and I think we can all agree that the Michael Myers that Rob Zombie and Tyler Mane managed to get is possibly one of the most brutal in the entire franchise. What will forever scare me about that performance is obviously the physical attributes that he possesses, but alongside that sheer like rage that's inside him in this film. You know, the best way to put it is like, if you came across this guy, you are fucked. Like, you're not making it out. And with all of that said, he is definitely one of the scariest. And you know, if I want somebody to be scared of Michael Myers, I'd be pointing them in his direction definitely sooner rather than later, because, you know, there's something about how raw and aggressive that film is that, like, it never sits right with me after I've watched it. It's very intense, and I do like the portrayal of Michael Myers that Tyler Mane created. But with that being said, those are my 4 options. I have got a decision on who my favourite is, and I'm gonna have to go with James Jude Courtney. Nick Castle is a smidge away from this, and I hope this doesn't sound disrespectful at all, but for lack of a better words, the way I would describe it is Nick Castle walked so James Jude Courtney could run with it. I hope that kind of makes sense. Like, it was like Nick Castle gave us all those moments, but James Jude Courtney was able to work with him, and I feel like just they both perfected it in that trilogy, just how Michael is. And yeah, I really don't want to sound disrespectful to Nick Castle at all when saying that, because his performance is still incredible. It's terrifying. And you know, an honorable mention that I do have to also say is Dick Warlock in Halloween 2. If I am being 100% honest, for a long time I didn't really like Dick Warlock's portrayal of Michael in the second film. The second film of Halloween is one that I don't actually go back and watch a lot at all. And for me, I always just found it that Michael was a little bit too robotic. I thought he was a bit too slow. But I think the more I allow myself to watch that film and just enjoy it, I think the more I enjoy his performance. Yeah, I didn't really want to go the whole video without mentioning him. But that is it. That is my conclusion. I think James Dew Courtney is the best Michael Myers we've got so far. That's my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Do you agree with that, or do you think somebody else takes it? Was your favorite not even on my list at all? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.